Okay, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to this explainer of a truly mind-bending report by theoretical physicist and IIT Kharagpur alumnus Bimal Chandra Dan. So, today we're exploring a topic that kind of fundamentally questions everything we see around us. Because, well, according to the strict rules of fundamental physics, our very existence, it's a massive scientific anomaly. Literally, you, me, the stars you see at night, none of it should actually be here.
It's honestly a terrifying cosmic mystery when you really stop and think about it. So, why are we made of matter instead of just an endless bath of cooling light? If we run the clock all the way backward to the Big Bang, naive physics tells us that the early universe, in all its intense heat and density, it should have produced exactly equal amounts of matter and antimatter. And as we know, when matter and antimatter meet, they annihilate completely, just boom, gone, leaving behind nothing but pure energy. So as the universe expanded and cooled, every single particle should have found an antiparticle partner, completely destroying each other in a flash of gamma rays that would leave the universe as nothing more than this empty, endless bath of cooling light.
But here's the thing. Out of that churning, chaotic equilibrium of the early universe, a tiny, almost imperceptible imbalance somehow emerged. Basically, for roughly every 1 billion antimatter particles, there were about 1 billion and 1 matter particles. So, those billion pairs, they annihilated each other into pure radiation, sure, but that single solitary leftover matter particle, that literal 1 in a billion survivor, is what went on to build absolutely everything we see in the universe today.
Section 1. The Rules of Perfect Symmetry.
Now, to really get why our survival is so shocking, we have to look at the strict rules physicists originally expected nature to obey. Basically, 3 simple tests of perfect symmetry. First up is C, or charge conjugation. This asks, if you swap every particle for its antimatter opposite, does the process happen exactly the same way? Then there's P, or parity, which is basically a mirror flip. Swap left for right, does the physics still hold up? And finally, CP, the combined operation. If you mirror the process and swap matter for antimatter, does nature treat it as a perfectly identical event? For the longest time, physicists firmly believed these symmetries were absolutely unbreakable cosmic laws.
And to be fair, for a lot of particles, nature actually does respect this mirrored, charge-swapped world completely. Take neutrinos, for example. They obey CP symmetry beautifully. If you take a left-handed neutrino, mirror flip it, and charge swap it, it becomes a right-handed antineutrino, and nature treats both as perfectly valid. But, as you might have guessed, that perfect symmetry failed somewhere else. And that specific failure is literally the very reason we exist.
Section 2. The 1964 quantum glitch. So let's jump to 1964. Physicists James Cronin and Val Fitch were studying this particle called the neutral kaon. Now, under perfect CP symmetry, this particle was strictly forbidden from decaying into 2 pions. Like, it just shouldn't happen. No way. But Cronin and Fitch discovered that it did. Exactly 2 times out of every 1,000, the neutral kaon decayed in this forbidden, asymmetrical way. This was absolutely shocking at the time. I mean, exact laws of nature aren't supposed to have exceptions, right? It'd be like gravity just deciding to take a day off. This groundbreaking proof that nature actually has a subtle bias toward matter over antimatter ended up earning them the Nobel Prize in Physics.
Now, the really crucial point here is this. 2 in 1,000 sounds tiny, right? You might even think it's just a rounding error. But in the extreme, churning heat of the early universe, this non-zero asymmetry was acting continuously across just an astronomical number of particle interactions. That really small, consistent bias was all it took to tip the scales. It turned a perfectly tied game into a survivable imbalance for matter.
Section 3. Sakharov's 3 Cosmic Conditions.
But finding this quantum glitch in a lab, that was really just the beginning. A few years later, in 1967, Soviet physicist Andrei Sakharov realized that discovering CP violation was just one single piece of a highly specific 3-part structural requirement. To actually evolve from a perfectly symmetric Big Bang into a universe dominated by matter, a process we call baryogenesis, he realized 3 distinct conditions must hold true simultaneously.
Let's walk through these methodically. Step 1 is baryon number violation. Basically, the universe needs a process that turns quarks into non-quarks without a perfectly balanced opposite reaction. Step 2 is the CN-CP violation we just talked about. You absolutely have to break that matter-antimatter mirror because otherwise, any excess matter created in step 1 is just instantly canceled out. And finally, step 3 is a departure from thermal equilibrium. The universe has to expand and cool so incredibly fast that these matter-creating reactions effectively freeze out before they have a chance to run backward and just erase the whole imbalance.
If we trace this razor-thin survival chronologically, it's pretty wild. From the Big Bang at point 1, we move to the electroweak epoch at just 10 to the minus 12 seconds. That's exactly where Sakharov's conditions locked in that tiny asymmetry. By the time we hit the Great Annihilation, which happened between 1 second and 3 minutes in, almost all the matter and antimatter had destroyed each other. Only that 1 in a billion surplus managed to survive the gauntlet, eventually becoming the stars, the planets, and, well, us today.
Section 4, the 10 billion shortfall. Now, if you thought we had this all completely figured out, you might want to hold on to your hats, because we haven't actually solved the mystery of why we're here. We've really only proven that a solution is possible. This number, 10 billion, represents a staggering gap between theoretical physics and our actual lived reality. You see, the amount of CP violation currently confirmed in the standard model falls radically short of explaining the matter imbalance we actually observe. It is short by a factor of up to 10 billion. The measured physics of today simply does not generate anywhere near enough asymmetry to explain why we exist. And because of this massive gap, scientists are actively out there hunting for this missing physics across multiple frontiers. I'm talking looking for neutrino CP violation, searching for tiny electric dipole moments in electrons, proposing extensions to electroweak baryogenesis, and firing up massive particle colliders to hopefully find entirely new, beyond standard model physics. This isn't just a neatly solved textbook chapter. It is quite literally one of the biggest, most consequential open scientific questions in the entire world right now.
Section 5. Physics meets Advaita Vedanta.
Stepping back from all the particle accelerators for a second, the author of this report, Bimal Chandra Dan, shifts our perspective to something beautifully reflective. He writes, "A universe built from a razor-thin asymmetry has an obvious resonance with philosophical traditions that treat the manifest, differentiated world as arising from a more fundamental unity." It's such a fascinating bridge. He's connecting this highly technical particle physics, the idea of a universe emerging from this tiny, tiny imbalance, with Advaita Vedanta's framework, which suggests that our highly structured world emerges from a singular, undivided reality. Which I think leaves us with this final, truly profound question to ponder. Why does a structured, differentiated universe, one actually capable of containing observers like us, exist at all, rather than just an undifferentiated bath of light? It's a question that really pushes the boundaries of both modern physics and human philosophy. The simple fact that you are here, made of matter, watching this explainer right now, is a cosmic miracle resting on a quantum glitch that we still don't entirely understand. And honestly, that is an incredible reason to keep learning, keep questioning, and keep exploring the frontiers of reality.